The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law. Happy weekend to you. We have a great show in store. I will do it, as always, with my beautiful co-host, Makaila Nichols. Makaila, how are you?
Fantastic.
You are not a lawyer. I am a lawyer. You are the one that asks the questions that people at home have.
Yeah, I mean, I try.
And don't forget, you ask the questions. Remember, what does Philip do?
The people.
The people.
I love to speak for the people, but sometimes the people are like, I don't know what to say, and that's, kind of where I'm at. Do
not forget, we are here live. We will answer any question that you have. The phone number's on the screen during the entire show, 321-282-1055. Here is what's coming up today. Attorney Wayne Spivak, you know Wayne.
I do.
Will join us to talk all things bankruptcy. He's been a bankruptcy attorney in this market for a long, long time. Chapter 7, Chapter 13, is bankruptcy right for you and your family? Wayne will answer those questions. Are you ready?
I am.
Here's what we're going to do. A very quick break. Behind the Law continues. Your debt does not have to control your life. You have the power to potentially lower or even eliminate your debt. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. If you own a house, it is your most valuable possession. You need to know what windows you have. Why don't you think about your windows? Do you have any idea that your windows really dictate your electricity bill every single month? There's one place to turn in this community for windows in your house, and it's certainly Renewal by Andersen. Dan Brigman joins me. You're family to me at this point. Let's be honest. I love you. I love your family. But the Renewal by Andersen family is what makes you so trustworthy. The culture there, it's a family, Dan.
Absolutely, Justin. And by the way, glad to be here. And yeah, it's our people, it's our process, it's our product, but it's our people more than anything. When we come out to your house, it's all about you. It's about, we're going to treat your home as if it's our own. We're going to do the same with your family.
I put a QR code on the screen for you, and Dan is offering you an unbelievable deal today. If you go to the QR code, you're going to send an email. What do they get?
Man, you buy one window, get 40% off the next, almost unheard of. We're excited.
Unbelievable. And then you talk about the electricity bill, because windows, I don't think people understand how important the windows are to the electricity bill every month, and the electricity bills are skyrocketing.
It's extremely important, and glass in your house takes up over 25% of the square footage of your wall space in your home. So that's the equivalent of one full wall in your house. Imagine sun hitting that all day long and all of that heat coming in.
A lot of people think window replacement would be very expensive. Sometimes we can do it for free. When you think about monthly payment over time, no interest, the money you save on your electricity bill, it's free.
Absolutely. By the time you put all the factors together, the energy savings, the curb appeal, the resale value, all of these things just add up. And then you got the financing that we have going on right now. Zero interest, 2.9, things that you just don't see anymore.
It's unbelievable. If you own a house, thank you, Dan, as always. If you own a house, you need to send us a message right now. You will not be disappointed. Renewal by Andersen.
Have you been threatened by the IRS? You are not helpless. You have the power to fight wage garnishments and fight levies on your accounts. I'm Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
Welcome back to the show. Make no mistake, as Americans, we have racked up a lot of debt, historic amounts of debt over these last couple of years, really 3 years, and the price of goods right now. Have you bought eggs lately? I just bought beef jerky. I know you hate it, which is weird to me. Beef jerky before the show was like $12.
That's unfortunate.
The cost of everything has gone so high. Inevitably, that's going to increase our debt individually and as a country. And you think, okay, what do I do about that debt? You have enough debt to where maybe you have a good job, you're making decent money, but at the end of the month you have no money left over whatsoever because you're spending all of your money, post-tax meanwhile, on paying your old debt. What do you do? What do we do in that situation? Wayne Spivak is an attorney here in Central Florida. He's been handling bankruptcy for a lot of years. Wayne, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing
I wasn't
good.
trying to age you. I'm just saying you're experienced.
I've been around.
You've seen both sides of it, too. You worked at the trustee's office for a while on the bankruptcy side, and now you've been helping consumers with their bankruptcy for, almost 10 years. Bankruptcy has a bad ring to it sometimes. When people hear the word bankruptcy, they're like, oh, no way, I would never do that. You must hear your clients say that, but bankruptcy can be good for people. How do I know it's right and the right time to file bankruptcy?
Well, I agree with you. A lot of my clients say, Wayne, I can't believe I'm in this position that I have to do this. But that's the hard part, is coming to the realization that this is really the best move for you. Bankruptcy can help with a lot of financial situations that many people might not realize. It's not just a way for you to get out of your credit card debt. There's a lot of other things that you can do. We can restructure your debt if you're behind on mortgages, if you have a ridiculously high interest rate on your car and you're underwater, if you have liens on the house, if there are judgments that are coming against you to try to collect and garnish your paychecks. Bankruptcy can take care of a lot of those problems. And what I tell people is that come talk to me, free consult. I'll give you all the ins and outs and let you know if I think bankruptcy would help in that situation.
I hear a lot of people talk about Chapter 7 versus Chapter 13. It's not a book. It's not blatantly honest, which I'm still working on. It's different types of bankruptcy. A Chapter 7, a Chapter 13. What are the differences?
In Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you're trying to liquidate your debt. It's over with in about 4 months. Credit cards, medical bills, wiped out completely. When you do that, the trustee looks to see if you have any assets that you have to use to pay creditors, but often we can claim those exempt. In Florida, we have the homestead exemption. People are worried all the time, if I file bankruptcy, am I going to lose the house? And the answer generally is no. If it's your homestead, the bankruptcy trustee cannot take your house and make you sell it and pay back anybody. You don't have to lose your car. I've had maybe a handful of clients over the last 6 years who actually turned a car over to the trustee. You can usually keep your car. You can keep making payments on the car, on the house, and eliminate all of your other debt within that 4-month period.
I see a lot of people that come into the office and we got a ton of debt. They're paying it all. They have no money at the end of the month, but their credit's still not great, even though they're paying everything on time. It's that debt to income ratio can be a problem on your credit score, can't it?
Absolutely. And one of the things I think people don't realize is that bankruptcy can actually improve your credit score when you get rid of all that junk debt, all those multiple accounts hanging over you, all the maximized credit lines. It actually will free up your credit score. We usually see people have a pretty good improvement within the first year, if not almost right away.
So Chapter 7 is the easy, quick, simple bankruptcy where you just wipe everything out. You keep your house, keep your car if you want, but all of your other debt is wiped out. What are some of the types of debt you see? Credit cards, medical bills, what debts do you see out there?
Well, there's a lot of different debt. We have credit cards and medical bills for sure. We have old collection accounts. Maybe someone has an old collection account for a car loan deficiency for an old car that was repossessed, or maybe a collection for an old Sprint bill, or various other collections, an old apartment, something they co-signed for with a relative that they didn't realize had gone into default. With mortgages and car loans in a Chapter 7, you're not really trying to get out of those. Well, if you want to, you can. If you don't want to keep that car, that would be a good time to say, I don't want to keep the car. You can hand the car back over and say, I'm done with the loan, and you won't have to worry about making those payments again.
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. So let's say, going back to credit cards for a second, because that's where my brain goes because I'm younger. So let's say, I swiped my credit card way too many times, and I just don't feel like paying it. Is that when I come see you? Because, people my age, I feel like we overextend ourselves when it comes to our credit cards. Is that
I hesitate
feasible?
to say it's when you don't want to, when you just don't feel like paying it back. It's when you can't pay it back that becomes a problem.
Yeah. And then you're just drowning in it.
If you find that your, credit load is like half of your annual salary, there's probably a tipping point at which point you'll never pay the cards back. Even if you make minimum payments, more than minimum payments, you'll never dig your way out of that hole.
Would it make it hard for me to get a credit card in the future?
No, what we typically see, believe it or not, And this is another thing people don't realize. Once I file that bankruptcy and I hit file, and it's over with about 4.5 months later, you'll probably start getting inundated with offers for new credit cards as soon as it's over, because the credit lenders know that you can't do this more than once every 8 years for Chapter 7. So you're actually a better credit risk at that point. I usually tell people, find the best 1 card or 2 cards after your bankruptcy is over, no annual fee, and go easy on it. Don't run them back up again. But it's not a death knell to obtaining credit by any means.
And look, if you have debt, we understand how you feel. I personally understand how you feel. I'll never forget, I was 17 and my mother was nice enough to take me and my girlfriend at the time to one of these hibachi, hibachi cook in front of you places, whatever they're called. And it was still back in the day. I guess it's still like that. She went to the ATM machine, got enough money out to pay for dinner for me and my girlfriend and her. And at some point she dropped the ATM receipt and it still showed the balance on the floor. And my girlfriend at the time picked it up and was like, oh my gosh, this person only has $35 in their checking account. So I know what it's like to grow up in a family where you only have $35 in your checking account, and that's scary. And what I'm seeing a lot of right now is families, and if you feel this way, you don't need to feel badly about yourself, okay? There are things you can do. There are families out there, hard-working families. A lot of times, mom and dad are both working jobs, hard every single week and taking care of the kids. You're working so hard all the time, but then at the end of the month, you literally have no money left over. If you feel that way, you need to call the phone number right now, 321-282-1055. Wayne would be happy to sit down with you. I would be happy to sit down with you. Monday through Saturday, it costs you not a penny to come in and see us, and we'll talk about bankruptcy. And again, if bankruptcy is not right for you, you know what we're going to say? It's not right for you, but it's worth talking about how to feel some financial relief. You know, when you go to bed at night, sometimes when you feel all that stress and you flip the pillow over and over and over and you just can't get to sleep, this is unhealthy, all right? This financial stress can really create health problems for you as well. 321-282-1055. So, Wayne, you were talking about credit score before, because a lot of people, when they come in and talk bankruptcy with you, their number one concern is their credit score. And I'll tell them, I understand what you're saying, but you can't go get a loan right now anyway because of the debt to income ratio. I know that when we run the credit, because we do a full exhaustive credit report for people before we file bankruptcy, it shows you what their score is now and what it'll be 12 months after bankruptcy. Oftentimes it increases. How is that?
Well, the software that we use does predict your credit score about 12 months out, and it's always going to be better. And that's because a large part of your credit score is going to be your credit utilization. How much available credit do you have? How much have you used? Most of the time when people come to me, they're already maxed out. That part is eliminated. Old credit lines, eliminated. If you're 60, 90 days behind on payments, all that is eliminated also. So we can actually see people improve their scores within those 12 months easily.
One of the biggest misnomers that I hear is that, well, I have some credit card debt, but I owe the IRS a lot of money. Bankruptcy doesn't help me resolve my IRS debt. Fact or fiction?
No, another thing that people don't realize is that IRS debt can be eliminated in bankruptcy in either chapter. It has to be within certain parameters. The debt generally has to be for a tax return filed more than 3 years ago. But we can look into that. We can calculate exactly when your IRS debt can be discharged. And we've eliminated a lot of tax debt by filing bankruptcy. Some tax debt that you would be surprised that you could eliminate.
Millions and millions of dollars. And that's scary debt too. Someone rolls in with a couple $100,000 owed to the IRS. That is a scared client who often can go from scared client to really owing nothing. It's pretty crazy. So that's a Chapter 7, I guess, in a nutshell. Basically, you wipe everything out, keep your house, your car, and your credit score goes up quickly. You don't owe anyone anything. That's great. A little bit more complicated is this Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Often we'll see people come in our office and they've gotten behind on their mortgage, owe a lot of other debt. Literally, by the time the 13's over, they're paying less on their mortgage and are completely debt-free. How do we do that? After this quick break, as Behind the Law continues. Have you been threatened by the IRS? You are not helpless. You have the power to fight wage garnishments and fight levies on your accounts. I'm Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
If you own a house, you can imagine the roof is probably the most important part of your house. You see a leak, this is a very bad day for you. We have a lot of bad roofing companies out there. We call them storm chasers, in fact. Universal Roofing Contracting joins me. Justin, Corey, you guys are not storm chasers. You've been around for many, many years in this market and really the best in the business and Hall of Fame guest for me as well. What I've done, though, is I put a QR code on the screen for you. All you have to do is scan your phone on the QR code, and we're getting 15% off free roof inspection. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so it's a 15% off a full roof replacement. We do offer free inspections. What you do is you just give us a call, schedule an appointment. We will show up on time as scheduled, provide a free full point inspection, share photos with you, and let you know exactly what you're looking at, what your options are, and decide which path to walk you down. But ultimately, we're going to approach roofing whatever serves you the best.
A lot of people are in this black hole of fighting with their insurance company, their attorney, the public adjuster, whatever, and literally have a tarp on their roof for 2-3 years sometimes while everyone fights it out. The roof is important. If you don't address your roof issue now, damage can occur in your house. What can happen?
Oh, I mean, mold is probably one of the biggest. We have homeowners that have to move out of their property for months at a time just to get the mitigation done of the mold. So if you're seeing any of those brown spots in the ceiling, if you see a missing shingle in the yard, granule loss, any of those are great reasons for us to come do an inspection and kind of get ahead of that, making sure that you're not going to have those kind of issues.
When it comes to roofing, I think that trust is maybe the most important part of hiring a great roofing company. Why do I trust Universal Roofing Contracting?
Family owned, veteran owned, 3 decades in your own backyard, community roofer. Any other reasons are good as the next one. It's just we serve the community. We wear our consultant's hat first, but we're just there to serve and take care of you the best way.
Football team coming to town, I heard?
Yeah. The Orlando Guardians. We just became the official roofing partner of the new Orlando Guardians XFL team. We're super happy about that. Looking forward to a great season.
I love you guys. Do yourself a favor. Need a new roof? There's only one place. It's Universal Roof and Contracting. Welcome back to the show. And again, we are here live. Ask any question that you want off the air. 321-282-1055. We're talking about debt today and what you do with that debt. But what I've noticed as well is over the last 3 years, these mortgage companies had all of these moratoriums and deferments and forbearances on your mortgage due to the pandemic, and now they're calling and being like, hey, you owe us 9 months. You owe us 12 months on your mortgage. And look, a lot of us did not save 9 months worth of mortgage payments, so now we're hearing that term loan modification again. We're going in to try to modify the loan to get you back on track with your mortgage so you do not have to stroke a big fat check to reinstate the mortgage. Wayne Spivak joins us again here, Wayne, but there's another option with the Chapter 13 when it comes to modifying your mortgage, and you can do it through the Chapter 13 process. How does it work?
Well, let me go back to the beginning. A Chapter 13 bankruptcy is where you restructure your debt, right? Instead of just eliminating it, you're going to come up with a payment plan to catch up. There's a lot of reasons why a catch-up plan would be better than just eliminating debt. If you're behind on the mortgage, right? You get behind 6 months on the mortgage, something happens, you're sick, you stop working, you lose your job or whatever, and then you call the mortgage company and say, hey, I'm going to catch up now, I'm going to pay my regular mortgage payment, and I'll add some extra to start catching up.
Right.
The mortgage company will say, no, we're not taking your catch-up payments. A bankruptcy payment plan will force them to take catch-up payments. Another thing that the Chapter 13 can do is help you apply for a loan modification. The bankruptcy court set up a program specifically to apply for loan modifications through the payment plan. It's tightly controlled. We file all the paperwork through the bankruptcy court's program. If we get a loan modification approved, we can have the bankruptcy court approve it. And sometimes that's very helpful. I had a hearing this morning where somebody had a permanent loan modification approved, and then the bank started to not honor it for whatever reason. Maybe they transferred to a new servicer and the new servicer didn't know what was going on. But you have the bankruptcy court to back you up to order that this loan modification is good, it's approved, and the bank has to stick to it. So we see a lot of loans able to be modified through the bankruptcy. And if not, you still have a chance to catch up. You can take up to 5 years to catch up on those payments that you missed.
And in our line of work as a lawyer, we aren't able to guarantee results. There's nothing we can really guarantee. Like in our personal lives, we can guarantee things. Like I can guarantee you I'll probably have another vodka tonic someday. I guarantee you she'll get mad at me.
It's really funny out of all the things in the world
I don't know.
to say, that would be the
It's
one.
easy to have guarantee. Like I guarantee you'll get mad at me someday you get on this program. There's certain guarantees in our personal life that it's obvious. But in law, there are very few things that we can guarantee. One thing, and I always love to hear you say it, is you can guarantee someone in this 13 that they can save their home.
Well, I can guarantee that they have the ability to save their home if they're able to do it.
Right.
I can come up with a payment plan and tell you how much it's going to cost per month to save your home. I can't guarantee you can afford it, but I can guarantee if you pay this amount, you will not lose your house. I can also guarantee this to a certain extent that if we apply for the loan modification through the bankruptcy courts program, that there will come a day when we're going to be on the phone with me, my client, the bank's attorney, and you're going to have a chance to talk directly to the bank and ask them, why are you giving me a loan modification? Why are you not giving me a loan modification? What are you looking at? What's the paperwork look like? What are you considering, et cetera? So that's one thing I can guarantee.
But while we are now saving this family's house or this person's house, what happens to the other debt, the credit card debt, the general debt that we would normally get rid of in a Chapter 7?
Well, in a Chapter 13 payment plan, right, we're proposing a way to restructure debt. So we're proposing that we're going to pay the mortgage, and we're either going to catch up on the mortgage or try to get a loan modification. But other things go into the payment plan. Your car loan will go into the payment plan. There's things that we can do. If you have a ridiculously high interest rate, we can get that interest rate lower.
On the car?
On the car.
Oh.
We can get the car loan stretched out over a new 5-year term so the payments are lower. If you owe IRS debt, we can repay the IRS debt. If I can't eliminate it entirely, we can at least pay it back. If you're behind on your property taxes, we can pay it back. If you're behind in the HOA payments and they're itching to foreclose on you, we can force them to stop and take a payment plan to pay it back. And again, I can give you an exact amount. If you can pay the exact amount, you will not get foreclosed, you will not lose the car, the HOA will stop bothering you. If you can afford the payment, we can make it happen.
How do we deal with student loan debt in bankruptcy?
Well, student loans are a special class of debt. The bankruptcy code says that you can't completely get rid of student loans unless there's an undue hardship, which is a very open-ended term. If we put you into a Chapter 13 payment plan for the 5 years, or it could be less, but let's say 5 years, if you're in the payment plan, you will not get collected on by the student loans, right? If at the end of the 5 years, there isn't a basis to claim you have an undue hardship, and that's a whole detailed analysis, then you'll start making your student loan payments again at the end of that payment. But for those 5 years, you won't have to worry about the student loans coming and collecting on you or suing you or garnishing anything.
The pressure you're putting on me to ask. So I had a question offline.
You were asking a question during the break,
I
which
know,
is not
and
the right time.
No, well, anyway.
Ask away.
Anyway,
It was
let
a
me
great
ask my
question.
question
Okay, go
since
ahead.
you've so kindly looked at me like 3 times. So does bankruptcy follow me around for like the rest of my life if I were to follow it?
It's a great
file
question.
it.
Well,
Thank you. Flustered me.
What I tell everybody is, in general, the Chapter 7 will stay in your credit report for 10 years, the fact that you filed. The Chapter 13 will stay in your credit report for 7 years, the fact that you filed. But it's always going to be out there on the internet. It might come off of your credit report, but 20 years from now, if somebody wants to look up whether you ever filed bankruptcy 20 years ago, they'll probably be able to find it.
Does one look better than the other? Or no, they're both pretty.
Well, they both serve different purposes.
Yeah.
One doesn't look better than the other. I think with the Chapter 13, you might see some faster or bigger improvements with your credit score because you're making some payments to your creditors. But it's really, people have their stigmas about bankruptcy. It doesn't matter if you file 7 or 13. Some people think they're bad no matter what. I'm trying to dispel that notion, though. It's something sometimes you just have to do. It's a business decision you need to make for yourself.
Let me shoot it straight with you for a minute, though, okay? And we're always straight with you here, but there are so many families out there right now who are making good money and they have $50,000 in credit card debt or $70,000 in credit card debt, the minimums on that is $1,800 a month, $2,000 a month after taxes. Like, that's your money that you get after taxes, and you're so concerned about your credit score. Here's what you should try to do. Go try to buy a house. Go try to get a car. All right, when they run your credit, they're going to be like, "Ooh, I'm glad you make all these payments on time, but you have absolutely no disposable income. You will not be able to get that house or that car, unfortunately." Yet, in week 3 of the month, we're struggling to put food on the table for our family. And again, people yell at me all the time, "Justin, this is horrible, this bankruptcy." It's not. Do you think I care if American Express gets paid by you or not? I don't. Do I care about you putting food on your family's table? I do. I don't care about Visa. No offense to Visa, MasterCard, America. I don't care. I don't care about them. And they charge us interest rates because this is built into their business model that some people are going to get it wiped out. I assure you, I care more about you, your family, and not being so stressed out all the time than I do Amex. You know, I know you get free rooms once a month or whatever. You know, you at the airport, you get to get the
vodka tonic you were talking
the
about.
vodka tonic, exactly. If you have questions about this, 321-282-1055. Look, maybe the vodka tonic wasn't the best example, okay? In retrospect, I agree. But there's some truth to what I'm saying, Wayne. You've seen it. You've seen the feeling that your clients get. They come in there with $70,000 in debt and walk out with zero. It can be life-changing.
Sure. And people feel bad. They feel guilty. Oh, I ran up this debt. I should pay it back. What I usually tell people is that if you count the interest you've already paid up until the point you saw me, you've paid them back more than you borrowed to begin with. And you're not, you know, sometimes people can let that creep up. And who lent them that much money to begin with? I mean, someone who makes $35,000 a year, who gave them $70,000 worth of credit cards to run up? Did they think they were going to get repaid in full?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Wayne, excellent job as always, buddy. Keep up the good work. I always refer to Wayne as the bankruptcy extraordinary. What do I call you? Bankruptcy. He's like a bankruptcy whiz.
You can just call me Wayne.
Wayne's fine? All right. Great job.
Wayne the Whiz.
Wayne the Whiz. And again, if you have any questions for Wayne, he'd be happy to meet with you. Monday through Saturday. It costs you $0 to come in and talk. And there's no real gray area with Wayne. It's either this is good for you or it's not good for you. He's going to tell you all the ups and downs about filing bankruptcy, and it costs nothing. Again, 321-282-1055. One last quick break. We will return with What Did We Learn?
Are you worried about your student loan payments? I don't blame you. The great news for you is now we have more options than ever. Go to our website, youhavepower.com, to find out what options may exist for you and your student loans.
All right, good stuff today. We will wrap it up as we always do with What Did We Learn? Makaila Nichols, what did you learn?
No pressure. I learned a lot.
What?
I think it's really interesting that you can file bankruptcy every 8 years.
And it depends on if you go from chapter 7 to 7 or 7 to 13, it's even shorter, but think in terms of every 8 years. Not that you want to aspire to do it multiple times, but your brain was going, I heard you say, like, so I could rack them up again.
Yeah, let's not share my internal thought process
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, we don't want to give anyone any ideas.
And we learned that I'm a liar because I actually drink Tito's and water, not
Sponsored by Tito's. Just kidding, it wasn't.
I should say vodka, right? I thought it was a really good show. Wayne did a great job, and a little self-serving, I guess, because my firm does handle this, but I think it's a very important topic, especially with what's going on in the economy right now.
Yeah, everything's really expensive.
Excellent job, as always. I'll see you again next week.
Yes, you will.
Thank you to our amazing crew. Most importantly, thank you for joining us every Saturday. See you again next week for more Behind the Law.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
I'm attorney Justin Clark. If you're in debt and find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, call me now or visit youhavepower.com today.